All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Unscheduled live stream. Give me a second. Let's get a couple things here. An unscheduled live stream. I think you folks can hear me, can't you? Give it a few seconds and we'll start. We'll start the discussion. We shall start it. I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. We're going to talk about reissues. We're going to talk about 2.0s. Get the camera ready. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Tuesday. And let us begin. All right, we got ourselves an unscheduled live stream here. We're going to talk about 2.0s and we're going to talk about reissues because get the camera here focused here away from the mess. Hopefully you guys can see me here. Hello. All right. Hello, everybody. Blackbird, Ghost. All right, the regulars. So a few days ago on my community post, I asked a question. I asked the audience out there for help. I wanted for you folks out there in the comments to list what you think is a reissue and not so much a 2.0. I placed some rules here. What do you guys think? Hot toys tonight. It was a very, very simple. I'll start it off here. Let me add the page here. So a couple days ago, it was more of a community social experiment. And I asked for help. I go, hey, need your help. We recently reached a milestone with the MMS series hitting 600, right? With the Tony Stark Mark V suit-up version. And most of us are receiving right now, at least in the US, we're receiving figures being shipped from Sideshow around the 550, 560 range, around there, around that certain number, right? Around that 550 range. So what is the true percentage or the true amount of reissues that we're actually getting? And in the comments, I listed some rules here and made it very clear. Just what you think is an official reissue. And I wanted to make sure that nobody in the comments posted anything that had to do with a 2.0. A 2.0 is a character that was released in the past and it's being re-released, right? But with modifications, with upgrades, a new head sculpt. I gave a perfect example. Now, I understand this is how Denobi 2, this is how I'm understanding the world of what is a 2.0 and what is a reissue, right? The Tony Stark mech suit was released about 10 years ago, and it's being re-released, right? Not so much, I don't see this as a reissue. I don't see the Tony Stark with the mech suit as an official reissue. They're adding different accessories. It's a different head sculpt. So I see this as a 2.0 re-release, right? Versus the Whiplash that was announced at the same time as this particular figure. They didn't do any type of modifications or any head sculpts or nothing. That, to me, in my eyes, is a reissue, something that was reissued back, right? The War Machine Mark I from Iron Man 2, that is a clear reissue, right? They're not changing anything. It's not a 2.0. They're not adding any new accessories. They're essentially just reissuing it. It was released 3 years ago, 2017, right? 2017, and it's being brought back. I've made some discussion. There's been a lot of new hot toy collectors joining the community and started collecting. Somebody recently posted a comment like, "Hey, Denobi, I recently started collecting during the pandemic," right? So it would make sense from a business standpoint that you would reissue some of your hit wonders. It's a practice that's done with a lot of companies. It's Nintendo does it all the time. Their greatest hits they tend to get reissued again and so forth. And the comments and the responses that I got were just mesmerizing. They were just, because I suspected there was confusion in the community, but I didn't think to this great deal. Let me get to some of the comments. Hello, everybody joining up. Hello. YouTube failed to notify. YouTube didn't fail you. This was this is like 15 minutes. I was meaning to get this semi-rant out. Just the Iron Man and Whiplash. Everything else has been 2.0, 3.0. That is a good question. That's what we're here to talk about, Bob, is that just the Iron Man and Whiplash, right? Everything else is a 2.0. Well, there's been quite an amount of reissues, and this is what we're going to talk about here. Bob, I didn't see your comment. I didn't see you posting in the comments, but that's what we're going to get. So some of the comments that I was getting on this post on my community is the like right here from this comment. I believe the Iron Man Mark 43 was a reissue. Yes, absolutely. That Mark 43 was a reissue. Absolutely. They didn't change anything. They essentially started the print and press up and so forth, right? So that Mark 43, 100% in my eyes, is a reissue, Mark 43. Comment from Jay Ford, Spider-Man movie promo reissue of the Tom Holland. Yes, the original, the homemade suit, 100%. That is a reissue. Yes, that is a reissue. Now, they did reissue it with a drone, but they didn't do anything to that particular figure, meaning did they give him any new accessories? Did they modify the head sculpt and so forth? No. So that Tom Holland with the homemade suit, yes, so he gets the star. Comment from SBB3, yes, Han Solo Chewbacca episode from New Hope, that was a reissue. Yes, they stopped making it. They took a year break, and this was the first time. That's a really interesting one to really talk about, because the reissue started with Han Solo and Chewbacca. That was the first time that anybody in the community had ever seen a reissue, and it created waves in the toy community. At the time, I was doing the show with Benjamin. We're doing the W2 Benjamin show, and I mean, talk about him and me like clutching our pearls. Like, we had never, up until that point, Hot Toys would always make a character and then they would move on, and that was the way. That was the way it was. Reading some of the comments. Hello, Sean. There you go. Comments. Let's get back here. So, comment from Sean over here. Empire Strikes Back Vader and the Boba Fett. Yeah, those are reissues. 100%. That is a 100% reissue. No doubt they added some fancy packaging. Did they add any accessories? Did they modify the head sculpt? Nope, nothing there whatsoever. Next comment from Len, Iron Man Mark 1 diecast. So this is where the confusion starts to unravel, because I've noticed this trend with Hot Toy collectors where they're dismissing certain releases and they just assume, oh, that's okay, it'll just get reissued, right? And that's when you realize that we've just hit 600, the MMS series 600, and when you really sit down and you actually verify what's a reissue and what's considered a 2.0, you're going to learn, like I discovered earlier today, that the actual amount of reissues, it's anywhere between 2 and 3% out of 600 announcements, right? MMS 600, it's 2 to 3%. And why is that so important? Why am I emphasizing that? Because I've seen this mentality in the community where they can pass on a certain figure and no, that's okay, it'll just get reissued down the road. Whatever, it'll just get reissued. That's not necessarily the case all the time. And I'm not here to, I'm still an advocate for day one pre-orders. Like, I don't believe in that anymore, but I also don't want anybody to miss out on a favorite character if they're passionate about. Because I've had some misses probably in the last year, and I try not to look back. I've missed out on that particular figure. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll cry about it. I'll bitch it. I'll complain to my friends, and that's it. The Christian Bale Batman. Yes, the Christian Bale Batman. 100% reissue. But this could be somewhat debated because I can't verify that head sculpt. If I want to, it looks exactly the same as it was released back in 2010 or 11. So I want to say the Christian Bale it would be considered a reissue. Absolutely. Going down the comments here. Another one here. Attack of the Clones Yoda. A lot of confusion here. A lot of folks feel the Attack of the Clones Yoda was a reissue. No, not necessarily. This is one of those situations where they continued a second run on the existing announcement. So there's situations where a figure will go in a wait list and it feels like it's sold out for quite a while, and 6 months or X amount of time passes by, and Hot Toys continues additional batches to fulfill those orders and those wait lists. Because that wait list information, I would assume, and I'm speculating, gets when enough of us jump on a wait list, I'm pretty positive that information is from Sideshow is shared to Hot Toys. Say, hey, look, we have 3,000 people on a wait list on this particular character, even though it's been on wait list for 6 months to a year. What do you say, Hot Toys? And so we'll get a fulfillment on that original announcement. The Dark Knight Tumbler, yeah, it's a reissue. Exact same thing. It was pulled out from the past, brought into the future. The Dark Knight Tumbler is a reissue. Comment here, some figures have get a, try to spell it out here, or say some figures get a re-release and not a reissue 2.0. Some things are even better. Yeah, and I have no problem with that, right? I love 2.0s. I'm not going to be a hypocrite on this live stream, because I love the 2.0 Mark V, and I love the 2.0 Mark VI and the 2.0 Mark VII. It is a engineering masterpiece with Hot Toys, what they were able to do with the Mark VII. To me, it's an engineering feat that no other company I've seen any evidence can even come close to, right? So those are their breadwinners, right? Yeah, and the only reason, like the Mark V, yeah, it's a reissue. It's 100%. It's even on the photos. It's even tagged, hey, we are reissuing the Mark V, because I'm assuming that Howard Chan is going through a Iron Man 2 fixation. I mean, a fixation like I've never been. I mean, Iron Man 2. I mean, if you look at the history of that movie, I mean, if there's ever a movie that generated X amount of capital for a company up until that point, was Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 was the one that made me personally fall in love with the IP. I wasn't sold yet with Iron Man 1. Saw it in theaters. It's enjoyable. It was an enjoyable film, right? Even with all the criticism that Iron Man 2 gets, that's the one that wooed me. That's the one, like, wow. Like, I loved it. Even with all its plot inconsistencies and its overmesh, that's the film that made me, as a collector, fall in love with the Iron Man intellectual property. And if I had to speculate, because I was going to Comic-Con during those years, and let me tell you something, those booths at Sideshow, I mean, I have photos. I should have pulled those photos up, but Iron Man 2 was such a huge presence during those years, 2011, 2012. They made a killing. I mean, that's probably the one that Hot Toys they were able to move forward with a lot of their other IPs. I mean, it's no secret. Hot Toys, their foundation, their brick and mortar is built on the Iron Man intellectual property. So it doesn't, I'm not too shocked that they're re-releasing the Mark V. My only gripe with the reissue of the Mark V, because it's a beautiful piece, wonderful. I mean, the Mark V 2.0 is an engineering masterpiece in the same level as the Mark VII. My biggest gripe is that I have 2+ year pre-orders, and it feels like I'm just collecting pre-orders. And I don't mind. I've come to terms that I don't mind about the reissues, but don't neglect my existing pre-orders. that's pretty much where I'm at with that. Let's keep going down here because John Wick, another perfect example. John Wick is not a reissue. It was something that was on wait list forever because I got on it. It felt like 6 months to a year, and then my order was just fulfilled. Like, oh, cool, I'm getting a John Wick. Great, because everybody on YouTube was hyping up Keanu Reeves and John Wick, and I kind of felt left out. I'm like, oh, I really loved the movie. I really liked John Wick. Man, whatever, I'll jump on the wait list, right? So I would never see that as it's more of a maybe a third pre-order batch fulfillment that's just been delayed. So I would never see that as a reissue. And again, not to say that some characters that are on wait list right now may get fulfilled, but that's just what I'm really trying to kind of point out and clarify. Let me look at some of the comments, the improvements on 2.0. We're going to get to this one comment here from Blackbird. Bat Pod is a reissue. Yes, it is a 100% reissue. For me, that doesn't bother me. The fact that it's been 10 years since the Dark Knight trilogy, yeah, 10 years, it's close to a generation. Absolutely. They're the kids who were 15 or 16 years old when The Dark Knight came out. What was it, 2008, right? Were probably in their teens and they loved that. That movie was phenomenal, right? And you're in your late 20s or your 30s, you have disposable income. Well, yeah, it would probably make sense to reissue some of your greatest hits. After a decade, sure, why not? The War Machine Mark 1 2.0 that was just released a few years ago and you're reissuing, yeah, that's starting to feel like a cash grab while you're kind of ignoring your existing collector fan base. Comments here. Here's a good one right here. Let me get rid of this comment here. Avengers Captain America reissue, but repackaged with an Infinity War here. Same with Loki. So what Sean is referring to here is the Captain America Endgame, right? We all know that there's an Endgame Captain America that was announced because remember he meets his doppelganger and Loki. So he feels that this is a reissue, right? Me personally, I don't think this falls under the category as a reissue. Is it a re-release of the character? Sure. Yeah, you're re-releasing that Avengers Captain America with that suit. I don't see it as a reissue because it's a new body. It's going to be a different suit. There's a different head sculpt. Yeah, it's the exact same pattern, the red, white, and blue. But that's a 2.0. That's a major upgrade from the original Captain America Avengers that was released back in 2012 or 13. I know because it was one of my first figures I released. It was one of the first ones that got me hooked into collecting. And I thought that was a great figure. But seeing this Endgame Captain America with the Avengers, sure, that looks awesome. The Endgame Loki, the re-release in Loki again, that to me feels like a 2.0. It's a different head sculpt. It looks like it's going to be a different body. The tailoring looks a little bit different. They may even improve the actual helmet because the existing Loki, which I do have in my collection, always had that R&D defect of trying to put the helmet on where mine actually chipped. I ended up fixing it, but it was an issue with the actual horns in the helmet to put it on. I'm hoping that maybe because it looks like it's a different head sculpt that they'll be able to improve and fix on that. So, and again, and this is stuff that through collector's eyes, I respect Sean's comment here because he sees that as a reissue, right? I don't think that's a reissue. I just think that's a re-release / 2.0. The reissue sucks. I won't pre-order anymore. Next comment here. Another one here. A lot of people thought that the Mark L from Infinity War, there's so many Mark Ls, was a reissue. I've saw that in a lot, and I deleted a couple of them. But the Mark L, the Mark 50 that's saturated, I don't see that as a reissue. I just see that as a third or fourth batch fulfillment because it was in high demand in the very beginning. Everybody wanted it, and they just kept making it and making it and making it. So there, I can understand the confusion why people would think, oh, that Mark 50, that was reissued, that was reissued twice to nobody. I'm like, no, it was not a reissue. It was not a gap in a few years gap. That went into wait list and so forth. So no. Nightmare Batman from comment here from Ken. Yes, Nightmare Batman, even though it's a 2-pack with a black suited Superman, I verified it, exact same figure that was released back in 2016, right? That is a reissue. It's a repackaged reissue in the same manner as Empire Strikes Back Vader and Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. They added some 40th anniversary packaging, and that's a reissue. It's pretty packaging. Oh, it's the packaging is different, and it's a reissue. Same thing too falls for the Death Trooper. The Death Trooper was originally released with the Rogue One packaging. Then they reissued it. It reissued with the Mandalorian packaging. That's a reissue. I think there was a difference with the weapon, the gun, if somebody can verify, or you got a different gun or something. But it's a reissue. There wasn't enough significant changes or upgrades or modifications from the Death Trooper to signify it as a 2.0. That was just a complete reissue. And it was a reissue that I actually welcomed. A fun fact, too, with the Death Trooper is that second batch, the reissue, is still trending. It's still trending very, very high in the secondary market. Blows me away. Blows me away. Mark 43, Mark 47. Mark 47, a perfect one. A perfect one right there. Is that Mark 47? We got someone joining. Who do we got joining? We got somebody joining in who decided to crash. What do we got here? First of all, let's get this out of here. Here, I'll let that individual introduce themselves. Let's remove this. Who do we got joining us here? Oh,
yo, what is up, everybody?
Whoa, wait, what happened here? What's going? Who's this? We have an imposter here.
It's Nate. Geeking Out.
No, that's not the Nate that.
I had a long drunk vacation, buddy.
and then some. And then some. Look at that. You had to go back to the office, didn't you?
Oh no! I had to go back to the other setup because I'm doing something else in the original setup. So I was like, okay, what I can do? Nobody wants me to come in. Okay, I got the space over here. Let's do it.
Look at this. Well, first of all, before I get you into the topic, you got a different setup here? What's going on over here? I'm snooping over here. What is going on?
Oh, this is my pre-endgame setup. If you guys can see it, like, yeah.
Oh, all right, very nice.
Like, nice. This is the moment that got me into Hot Toys. This is the end game moment, right. Captain America bringing the hammer, Avengers Assemble. This is the reason why I started collecting Hot Toys. It's that very moment in the film.
There you go. So actually that's I'm going to ask you a quick question. So what got you into Hot Toys was the MCU. It was the MCU IP.
Yes, because actually my first pre-order was the Hulkbuster, but that was way before the Endgame movie ever came out. But I was like, you know what? Let me just dip my toes on the Hulkbuster, and that's it. And then the movie Endgame happened. I had to go in. But yeah, one of my first to go right back into Hot Toys was the Hulkbuster.
Oh my God! To enter the world of Hot Toys with the introduction of the Hulkbuster must have been a honeymoon. Holy, and then some. That's
I'm sorry if I'm sweating a storm here.
No, that's okay.
I'm like just getting a lot of stuff. I was like, you caught me in like kind of like moving stuff around, and I was like, okay, let's get into this.
I wasn't sure. I sent you the invite. I'm like, hey, if he wants to join in, if he wants to hang out, he's more than welcome. I sent out a few invites. This is unscheduled. It's my day off. I am running around with my head cut off. I'm like, you know what? I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the reissue and the 2.0s. I wasn't sure if you were to catch, but the whole purpose of the live stream today, Nate, was there's a lot of confusion. At least I feel there's a lot of confusion within the community that a lot of collectors cannot tell the difference between a reissue and a 2.0. That's what we're and I wasn't sure if that was something that you've noticed. if you've personally encountered yourself, can you tell the difference between a 2.0 and a reissue? Because they're completely different things.
Yeah, I've been noticing that as well. I also made that sort of that same mistake when I was collecting in the very beginning. Like, for example, the Loki Endgame, which
Yeah.
is originally, we jointly called it the reissue of the Avengers Loki, but that one ended up being, actually an actual 2.0. They
Yeah.
redid the head sculpt,
Mm-hmm.
redid the clothing to make it more accurate, to
Mm-hmm.
modern day.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, though. A lot of people, they do tend to mix both
Yeah.
uh, scenarios in there. Like, yeah, this is a 2.0. Not really, because then say nothing about updates. This is a reissue, literal reissue.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely you're so funny. I knew my guy. No, you're absolutely right, because it seems that because of the amount of bombardments from the Star Wars that Hot Toys is dropping on us, I saw that, and I saw that, I was listening to you had a pre-recorded live stream with Easy, which was a good one, by the way. I listened to it. I was
Oh, I
driving
appreciate it.
back.
Thank you. We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, he's a clever dude. I was listening to you heading back from California back to Vegas, and I was
Yeah.
looking at some of the comments that you were getting to, and I saw it in some of your comments. People were like, if I miss on it, it'll just get reissued." And I'm like, not everything gets reissued. And I saw that in some of your threads, like, oh, because you were talking about figures and people making that transition and so forth. And I just saw that. I go, everybody just thinks everything's going to get reissued. Like, has anybody sat down and done the numbers and seen how many official reissues we've gotten?
Yeah. Not everything, like you said, not everything is going to get reissued. It just depends on the trends. It depends on what's hot or what's happening as far as
Yeah.
like the releases are concerned. More than likely, had a feeling that the Iron Man 2 figures line was going to get reissued because we kept getting that same reissue over
Yeah.
and over, like the Mark V, the Whiplash and Whiplash Mark V, a brand new figure for the Iron Man 2 line with the Stark race suit. It would, like, when you see the trends, and yeah, that was going to happen, but that doesn't mean that everything is going to get reissued.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. If you, it's not like Howard Chan is sitting in front of a computer hitting a big red button for reissue on everything. It doesn't seem to work. Yeah. I would imagine that there's a little bit of logic to that. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, some sense to his madness.
Yeah, I think it also has to do with also the fact that he does. I think they do look at the resale market as well. Kind of like what happened with the Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster was reselling for like what $4,000, $3,000 at the
It
time,
was insane. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they got the reissue in. But the thing is, it was a promise from
Yeah.
Howard Chan that he was going to get the jackhammer in. So they were like, you know what? They waited a
Yeah.
few years for the jackhammer. Let's get these brand new collectors in with the actual Hulkbuster with this. So I was like, oh, that was nice of him, And then the Mark 47, which skyrocketed to like freaking $2,000, $3,000.
Yeah.
That also makes a lot of sense. What happened with that? I know you were disappointed with that though. Like
With the
I remember
Hulkbuster?
watching no, not the Hulkbuster, the Mark 47, because really nobody wanted
Yes.
that figure. Literally nobody
Yeah.
wanted that figure. You talked about it, like it sat
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. I bought my Mark 47 discounted on eBay. Seriously. I did a review on it and I was like, wow, like, why did I pass on? And it was because, and you know the logic why a lot of people slept on the original Mark 47, right? We were
What?
we were all going, the community at that point, we were
Mhm.
all going through the Civil War honeymoon, and those figures were
Hmm.
dropping. This is what, 2016, 2017. And the pre-orders from the Civil War movie, which was released in 2016, they was dropping around 2017, and decisions had to be made. I did not pre-order the Mark 47. I assumed it was going to sit on the shelves for a while, and then I'd be able to pick it up. It was being sold on eBay. At that time, they weren't collecting sales tax, and it was free shipping. I think I got it like $30 below retail. And I'm like, wow, this is such a great figure. Like, what was I thinking? You know,
My
how did I pass on this one? You know?
question: did a lot of people pass on it because they felt that it was just a repaint of the Mark 46? They were like,
Mhm.
forget it. I got the Mark 46. Why do I need the 47?
Yep. That's exactly, that was one of the reasons too. It's very, I remember the comments. I remember the comments on that. And people were like, yeah, they passed on it, you know? Oh, we got another guest here. We got another surprise guest.
How many people are bringing in today? Shoot.
Oh, we're bringing it on. We're talking about reissues, and we are talking about 2.0s. Let's remove this one here. Let's bring in our third guest. Third guest, introduce yourself, shall you? Boom.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy.
God.
Oh my gosh, Nate. I don't recognize you without the hat. No, I was kidding.
My vacation went crazy, so I can't find my hat, can't find my other glasses, so I can't find my hair.
Yeah, Denobi, thank you for having me on the show, man. It's a pleasure to be with you guys and talk everything Hot Toys and collectibles.
Absolutely. Not sure if you're able to kind of bring you up on the speed. We are talking about reissues and 2.0.
Oh boy!
Oh boy!
Oh boy!
A very
sensitive issue.
Touchy. Yeah. I don't care about reissues. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I don't know. I guess it goes both ways, right? Like, it's great for the collectors that missed out, which I'm all about. Like, cool, But at the same time, like, for the collectors that are like, are in it for the financial aspect of it. Oh, like I want. It's like almost like, I want my figure to be like $2,000.
$2,000.
I just think that they're in the wrong collecting game.
Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, that's a great point. We forgot about the reissue of the Hulkbuster. I know we mentioned other reissues like 47 and other stuff, but
it was something that I wanted, and I have an idea in my head what I see as a reissue and as a 2.0, and that's why it was so important to post it on my community's page to see what the collector community thinks, because I felt there was a lot of confusion, and looking at the comments, there really was a few, and like the majority of the comments, I kind of cleaned it up here, but they were mostly right. Like the Nightmare Batman is a reissue, the Mark 47, the 43, the Hulkbuster. But one that kept popping up, PJ, is the Mark 50. Everybody thinks that the Mark 50 from Infinity War is a reissue, and it's not.
It's
not. It's not a reissue. It's heavy. Yeah.
I remember that because it's been so long. So with the Mark 50, I think it was just more of like a continuation of this production.
Yeah,
extended. Yes. It was more of a third or fourth batch fulfillment, because it did go on the wait list for a while, and it never went away, and they just continued it, and they got crazy.
Thor did the same thing.
They're never going to run out.
Yeah,
Thor did the same thing too.
Yeah, Infinity War Thor did the same thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and
Attack of the Clones Yoda did that, right?
There you go. Oh, there you go. There, it.
Well, I'm getting old, so my memory's kind of shot. So,
but think about it though, PJ. But think about that. A lot of collectors are just dismissing that as a reissue. Well, I can skip on this pre-order, or I'm not gonna do on this because it'll just get reissued. I'm like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. And I'm not, like I said, I still believe I'm trying not to day one pre-order anything. But I don't want people to miss out. If you have a particular character that you're emotionally connected to, just keep your eye on it. Just don't assume that it'll get reissued.
I love that you say that. Like, you say like an emotional attachment to it, because I feel now that there are this thing now, like I mentioned with my FOMO collecting live stream, like, people are like buying figures just because there's a hype behind it. I'm going to give the perfect example of the figure that fell into that. Heavy Mando. You know how many buying like for sale posts I've seen with Heavy Mando? I think there were like basically there was a one that was selling it for like 350 shipped.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about the Heavy Mando? I was on board of Heavy Mando ever since he came swooping in with that freaking smart gun and just start raging and like this is the way, you know.
Yeah.
I was on board of the Heavy Mando. I got mine's coming in Friday, but everybody and their mother was like, "Ah, this is a waste of a figure." He just saluted at the end. Who needs this 3-second figure? You know,
No.
everybody and their mother started raging at it.
I love that
yeah.
figure. I mean, it arrived late, you know, and that was one of, you know, I don't have enough time to do unboxes anymore, but that Heavy Mandalorian, it arrived so late that I looked at it with different eyes. I'm like, wow, it took so long. Like I can't see you in the same manner anymore. It was very different.
Yeah, but you guys picked it up because you guys like the character. You guys have an emotional attachment to it. It's not like you guys are picking up because someone's like, "Oh, you got to pick it up before it sells out, and then it's gonna go crazy in the aftermarket." Which it did the opposite. If you go on eBay and type in Hot Toys Heavy Mando, dude, you know how many listings there are with this figure? It's like insane. What happened?
Yeah.
I think Darth Vader, the Empire Strikes Back, is gonna suffer that same fate. You know, I don't know.
The Vader was actually the Vader was rising up in prices before the whole reissue of the 40th anniversary packaging.
Yeah, you know? But I just think that like, we're in this realm that like, Hot Toys is getting expensive. Reissues is gonna happen. And at the same time, like you got collectors just going crazy, just buying these figures because, there are, not to, call them out, but there are a lot of YouTubers out there that like hyping up these figures, making like seem like you got to get them now or else you're going to regret it and you're going to miss out on a lot of money that you could be making in the aftermarket. But then
blasphemy
it's the
paradox. Blasphemy.
It's just the opposite. It's just like another one. The Mud Trooper. What happened to the Mud Trooper? Yeah. That thing was supposed to be like the Grail, and now people are selling it for $350.
I've seen that.
Dropping. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just kind of weird with that. And I feel like Darkseid Anakin's gonna suffer the same fate with a reissue. That's gonna be next.
Darkseid Anakin. I know the Star Wars community. They're lighting up the Burning Man fires and they're hoping, but I bought my Darkseid Anakin at San Diego Comic-Con, which that's how it was originally released, right?
Yep.
At San Diego Comic-Con, I went up to Sideshow, I pre-ordered it, and you went up and you picked it up, and then like that same week it was sent to Sideshow because they had tons of stock. And I remember I should have taken a picture. It was probably 100 units. You can see behind their curtain behind the booth. And then it was sent to Sideshow. And PJ, you remember this? That Darkseid Anakin, it sat for a year. I want to say 6 months to a year. It sat for 6 months to a year. Nobody bought it.
Yeah.
Mark 47 syndrome.
Yeah. So yeah, the Star Wars bonfire has been ignited. But make no mistake, though, the excitement is still for the Mandalorian. There's different factions, right? Can we kind of all agree? Because I get annoyed when everybody's, Star Wars is hot, Star Wars is trending. Let's not classify the Bad Batch and the Clone War animated adventures with the prequel sequels or Obi-Wan. Or Qui-Gon and Jar Jar Binks' prequel adventures. Right? It's very segregated. I still believe that the Star Wars universe is heavily segregated. Everybody tends to like certain genres. And can I think you're the only one I know, PJ, that you tend to like majority of all of them except
for the sequels.
Except for the sequels.
Wait. Except for the prequels or the prequel sequels?
The sequels, the sequel trilogy, the
prequel sequels are
7, 8,
Rey
and 9.
Kylo.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I don't like.
9.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the original prequels that came out during the turn of the millennium with Jar Jar Binks and
Oh yeah.
so forth. Okay.
Yeah, I love. I mean, I was a fan of them. Obviously, I acknowledge the flaws with those prequels.
Yeah.
But as a Star Wars story, absolutely love them. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I could see. But it's just funny, like how the sequels came out and then it made everyone love the prequels. I've always loved the prequels.
Yeah. Are you following the prequels to Nate? Is that, or are you just still following just the prequel? I have to, and I'm sorry if I sound, because I know you tend to talk about it, but when I listen to you cats, I always, in my mind, I tend to put you into the majority of the prequels and the prequel sequels and so forth, right?
Yeah,
Or no?
I'm in the prequels, the originals, and still the Solo. Anything that Disney has been fine with Star Wars other than 7, 8, and 9. So
Yeah.
I'm out of that game. 7, 8, and 9. That will put me off of Star Wars, but everything else is fine with me.
I love everything Star Wars except for the sequels. I've endured the holiday special.
Yeah.
The first Clone Wars movie. Like, if you watch that movie, you almost want to like just cry in the corner because it was hard to get through. So yeah, no, I love everything Star Wars. Just the sequel trilogy, I just kind of have a bad taste in my mouth with that.
Okay.
I don't mind the characters though. Like I have a few sequel trilogy characters.
The only character I like is Kylo
right
Ren.
there, PJ, pause right there. Check your audio, Nate. Check your audio. Using
My bad.
There
I'm
you go.
using the headphones, so I'm not using my Yeti.
Go ahead, PJ. You were saying.
No, yeah, I mean, like, the only character I like is Kylo. So
Okay. I'm getting Kylo. I don't have a Kylo in my collection. I think he was the only character that I can grow to love. So I do have him on pre-order. And I also feel that if I don't move forward with getting the Kylo, I'll miss out. I don't think we're ever going to see this character again.
I don't think so either. I totally agree with you.
Done. I think it'll be, yeah.
I totally agree with you. And I had that Kylo. I did a review. I haven't posted the review up, but I think, in my opinion, is one of the best Kylos, just because I love the outfit, the design of it, and the light up feature on it is pretty sick.
It's the end all be alls of Kylos right there. Like, if this is your last boat. This is the last boat to jump on that Kylo. Because I don't think there's gonna be another Kylo. There literally is not gonna be. I'm getting it. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna get Rey. I'm gonna get Kylo. I don't mind the characters. It's a story. I don't like the story, but I like the characters. I have several sequel trilogy characters.
Okay. It's funny that you guys mentioned Rey. I was just editing the Rey review, and yeah.
You're not feeling it?
Not feeling it. I don't think I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
Is it a character or it's a head sculpt?
It's that portrait, and the only reason why I picked it up, and I do mention that in my review. The only reason why I picked it up, because I wasn't gonna pick it up because I saw the final production photos, and I'm like, what is this, right? Mm-hmm. And mind you, these are professional photographers. Like, these are like BG Tour. I mean, I don't know if it's BG Tour, but some of the best in the game. And I was just like, well, maybe it's the lighting or whatever. Everyone blames the lighting. And then a lot of reviewers say that it was the best thing that's ever come out. So I did pick it up.
The sliced bread.
And I was just like, okay, I don't see what they're talking about. It's not the best thing that has ever been made. It could have been better. It's not the worst thing. I'm not saying it's the worst thing. And you guys are having a little preview of my review, but it's not the worst thing. It's I would say it's decent. I'm
not feeling her. I'm very 50-50. I do have her on pre-order through a local comic shop that's offering me not local, a California comic book shop that's offering me free shipping and no tax. Because I'm very 50-50 with her. I remember reading on Reddit, on social media, that some third-party companies may make a costume option to make her to a dark Rey. I'm like, if there is a third party company out there that is willing to invest in a costume switch, meaning like the dark Rey and like the head sculpt, I would like to have the body and the accessories, and that's honestly the main the biggest reason. I would love to have a dark side Rey in my collection,
Me
but
too.
not so much of a homemade version. I suck at that, but if someone's willing to make the kit to upgrade this existing Rey, I'd be down for that. I would.
Yeah. Do you think
Now,
Hot
PJ,
Toys? Yeah.
a quick thing. The reason why you're not feeling the portrait for Ray is because how good the Kylo ended up.
No, it's not that. I'm telling you, when you get it in hand, and trust me, I like dissected this thing because I didn't want to be biased towards this thing just because I'm not a fan of the character.
Because the Kylo is really good, man. That Kylo, man, is beautiful.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, with this one, yeah. I mean, certain angles it looks good, but then when you start turning it around, you're like, oh man, I don't know. Like it's good. I mean, obviously, I think it's better than some of the previous releases. That I could definitely tell you. But I mean, for it to be like, oh my gosh, this is the next best thing, I don't think so. Like, I just don't think because then people are picking up this character even though they don't have an emotional connection to this character, just because what people or reviewers are saying. They're saying that like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing, dude. I just saw someone that bought that Ray from they bought it day one and is selling that figure already.
Wow.
That person paid $430 and is trying to get their money back.
I need to add a subsection to my comment with the Ray, where I mentioned I was very 50-50 with her, and for a possibility for an upgrade. But what tipped me over the fence is that I love Star Wars droids, and that is the only way I'll be able to get a 1/6 scale Dio.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Actually, Dio actually looks really good.
Yes.
I could definitely tell you for that. The accessories are great. The accessories, I have to say, is probably like the amount of accessories that you get and what they included is really nice.
So I'm gonna, because I've been doing this for a while too, and I tend to dabble selling on eBay too. I can predict, right, that Dio character within probably a year, once this figure sells out, it'll probably fetch over $100 on the secondary market just for that 1/6 scale Dio.
Yeah, I can see
my
that.
prediction. That's just for Dio. I don't think we'll ever get an official Dio in 1/6 scale from Hot Toys. It's going to be through this 2-pack. That's it. The value I see with Ray is just in that particular character in Dio.
Well, and the accessories as well. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's collectors out there that are actually buying the Ray and just taking the accessories, and they're gonna sell the Ray, by itself somewhere on eBay or trade bait.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, again, I definitely agree with you, Albert, and thank you so much. Seriously, like again, these are these are professional bloggers or photographers that are, their job is to make that figure look good.
Yep.
And if they can't do it, then, I don't know. That's just me.
And that's like I said, that's the whole idea of doing an honest review. And every now and then, I do actually appreciate YouTubers in the community that actually make the effort and put out an honest review. Yeah.
And I'm sorry to.
No, go ahead.
I mean, I just want to make prove your point. Is like when you did the review of the Millennium Falcon cockpit, that was an honest review because people were like not the things that you pointed out in that review. Like people like oversaw, and now like when you point it out, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sort of disappointed with not your review, Denobi, but the fact that you were disappointed, and I was also disappointed. I was like, I was really hoping for this one to be a home run.
It's There is an obvious segregation of licensed merchandise and unlicensed merchandise, right? And when you have a company that is selling unlicensed merchandise, you really want to get the best value. You really want to get the best out of your bang. It's not cheap. It's what, $1,400, right, for this Falcon currently, and you have to understand that when you drop that X amount of money, it's probably not going to hold its value, right? And I'll explain why it's not going to hold its value, because when we collect action figures, when we collect Hot Toys, right, what helps maintain that value is very similar to cryptocurrency. As long as everybody believes that the value is there, it'll retain its value, versus something that is very unaware, that something is unlicensed and so forth. You're more likely to suffer a value loss. And I'm not talking about buying to flip. I'm just talking about when you're spending X amount of money, right? You want what you're buying or investing to hold its value. Not so much you buy something and then 6 months down the road, the company decides to make major improvements on X amount of products. So now there is a version 2.0 from the existing product. Well, what do you think happens to the value to the 1.0 that you backed, right? That $1,400 isn't going to hold that. It's been now improved. Now there's a 2.0. So it's very tricky. And the same thing applies to, which I was listening to your debate, Nate, on the Witcher figure, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that looks like Henry Cavill. But Easy also pointed out too, when you were debating it with him, Easy says, you know what? Hot Toys is Henry Cavill doesn't really look like Henry Cavill either. And I'm thinking, and I was listening to that. I'm like, you know what? Easy's right too. It really
Easy. Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
It doesn't look like Henry Cavill, right?
Yeah, looking at him right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I love Superman. I love the actor Henry Cavill. I think he is my generation's Superman. But yeah, they haven't quite finessed him yet. And when it comes to characters like that, like The Witcher, it's very tricky, right? Because you're dropping, and you also pulled up a spreadsheet, so you get points from me on that. You or somebody pull up the numbers. I love it when like you, Nate, and PJ also had one on, and I'll get to PJ too, because I'm going to give some points to PJ too, because he had a debate on statue collecting, which I thought was
I gotta hear
phenomenal, which was phenomenal, right? You had a spreadsheet about going through different retailers, and I thought that was brilliant, Nate. So you're going to get points for that.
No, I appreciate that, but that goes all to my boy Adam Aguilar. He's
true.
He's part of the group, and he does a fantastic job in getting that done. And I appreciate. And I wanted to share that with everybody else, because I'm like, yeah, people need to know this information.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you shared the platform, and you did give him credits. I just didn't think of his name. So that's great. You're providing a service to the community. PJ, I don't remember what night it was, but you had a debate about statues, and I get a little bit annoyed where collectors are like, well, I'm going to leave Hot Toys, I'm going to go to statue collecting, and it feels like we're painting this picture that screw Hot Toys, statue collecting is the way to go, it's the future. I'm like, statue collecting has its own problems. And I remember, PJ, like 2 weeks ago, you and your boys had a really good like pros and cons on it, which I thought was phenomenal. Yeah. So you get points for that, because statue collecting, it's its own set of problems. It's tough to resell if you ever have an emergency. The statue collectors are also divas too. If there's a microscopic chip or something, it's a nightmare. So
yeah. Absolutely, and the thing, with statue collecting, it's like, for me, like I collect a lot of things. Whatever looks cool and whatever I love, I'm picking it up, and I just think, I don't, try to like discriminate. Oh my gosh, I'm not into hot toys because they're like dolls, or oh, I'm not into statues because you can't pose it. I like both. If it looks good, and I appreciate the art behind it. the art of sculpting a statue, the art of sculpting a portrait on a figure, the art of tailoring on a figure, stuff like that. Like I totally appreciate that, and that's what makes this hobby so amazing is that fact that you got artists and sculptors and different people making these awesome things that you're collecting. And for me, I'm all about that. And a great point on the custom game, Denobi, because I did pick up. I remember when I wanted to cosplay as Kylo Ren, and I was looking around for a movie accurate Kylo Ren helmet, and I went around and I could only find one custom maker to make that Kylo Ren helmet for me. So he made it. I paid him I think $400 for it, 450. Shipped it out to me. I get it. I like it. It was kind of off. Guess what? Guess what happened, Denobi? He made a version 2.0, and what happened to the value? But much improved, more movie accurate. And guess what happened to my helmet? It's pretty much not worth anything right now.
Yeah, because everybody wants the 2.0 or the 3.0, so it hits the value.
That's just what I want for the 2.0 right here. I want the Winter Soldier 2.0. They need to fix up this pleather stuff, man.
Yeah.
You were messing with me, Nate. That's one of my biggest misses there. I had them and I sold them, and to this day I regret ever selling that first version Winter Soldier. I love them. But the whole pleather, is the pleather starting to peel on it, or is that a different? Oh, that's a different jacket.
No, it's the same jacket. I had to refurbish it. I had to add the acrylic finisher to it and the 303 for it. But yeah, it's starting to flake in the bottom. It's not too bad, but if I had caught it before, this probably would have not gotten as big. It's right in the corner. I could hide it with the belt. Yeah. But if that's the thing, though, you don't want to do that. But that's the thing about the Winter Soldier. If you're going to get this, you're going to have to take care of it as far as like a 303, a cleric, because it will start to flake on you.
I never had mine long enough to experience it. I had them for about 1.5 years, and that was around the time I was building my 3-story Hall of Armor set. And there was a local collector. It was a collector on Facebook, and I was able to. And I regret it. I mean, I got good money out of him, but I'm like, man, that still hurts. And there was 2 of them. I always talk about it. It was Nightmare Batman and first run Winter Soldier. So I've been redeemed on that Nightmare Batman 2-pack. I go, cool. I'm getting my boys Superman and Nightmare, and I sympathize for those who don't want to get bullied into buying a 2-pack. Yeah, it's
or you feel sorry for those who bought the Nightmare Batman for $500.
Yes, or those 2. Yeah. I go ahead, Nate.
Good thing. I remember. I remember watching that video that you did on you were doing like collection tour stuff, like not the collection tour, but you going into I was like going back to your data banks, right? Yeah. You were talking about the days of Civil War, and you always mentioned that, like, that was the one that got away, the Winter Soldier. So this is my second chance right now to get the Civil War Winter Soldier. And
I wouldn't trust buying, and this is what sucks too, because I would not trust buying a sealed brown shipper, Winter Soldier, Bucky, even from 100% seller. Not Bucky's going to rip me off. You like that, Nate?
That was good. That was good.
I don't know if that figure was stored in an attic, in environmental controls. Buying him sealed. That pleather, I don't, because now I'm finding out years later about the pleather situation. So that, to me, that ship has sailed. I can never look back. So if they do a reissue, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be awesome on that.
Well, I was going to ask you, Denome. I probably missed the first half of the stream, but what's your thoughts on the reissue? Like, do you like it? Do you
the reissue, the current the world of reissue.
Yeah.
Well, I was starting to get annoyed because it seemed, because I saw this on one of Nate's streams. I've seen this on yours and even Aries, where people are just passing on characters because they assumed that it'll just get reissued. And when you ask them in a friendly manner, oh, what do you think is a reissue? What do you think is a 2.0? Then you see comments like, oh, well, Attack of the Clones Yoda was a reissue. The Mark 50, I'm like, well, no. And what I was able to gather, PJ, is that I have 16 I've counted that I see as an official reissue, right? When you take 16 units and then you divide it by, I think it's either 15 or 16, and you divide it to 600, right? Because we just had the MMS 600 Mark V restewed, right? So when you do the math and you add the percentage, it's only 2 to 3% out of 600 MMS figures that have gone into official reissue, not counting 2.0s, and I don't count 2.0s. People, oh, the Mark 7 is a reissue. No, that's a 2.0 that's been improved. So it's about 2 to 3% is my math. And when you look at 2 to 3%, then you start to ask yourself, not everything is going to get reissued.
Well, I was going to ask you, but my question to is that how many have reissued in the past couple of years? You know, because 600 is a span of, you know, how many
since it
years?
launched. Yeah, since the MMS started. And the first official reissue that I can look at Hot Toys' history was the 2016 Chewbacca and Han Solo. That was the first one.
That was a reissue, yeah.
That was a reissue. That's the one that had everybody in the community, you know, clutching their pearls and freaking out. Yeah. Benjamin, we were doing the Benjamin show at the time, and I mean, he was ready to jump in front of a bus. It was bad.
But look at it. But look at it now. You know, it's like one of the most highly sought out after 2-packs. You know, and people are paying like $1,000 for like that 2-pack set. I mean, that's one thing with reissues that once it sells out, I feel like it's going to just go back up in price. That's usually the case.
That's usually the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's my take on this. Like, it's sort of strange that we've seen this sudden burst of reissues over time. Usually, it's like in a kind of like, you know, as far as release pre-order is concerned, is when it's more spread out.
Yeah.
But I mentioned this before that it just came out of nowhere. The sudden burst of pre-order reissues out of freaking nowhere. You know, it's just, I feel like that's wild. I think that's the reason why the community is going, you know, topsy turvies right now, because there's so many reissue after reissue after reissue.
Yeah. And it's about, like I said, it's about 16 of them, 15. That's when you add the Bat Tumbler, the Bat Pod, the Christian Bale, which I'm back and forth on that one. I'm calling that as a reissue, but I think the head sculpt may have been tweaked. I can't verify that. So if it's exact same head sculpt, it would be a reissue. And like the Mark V was a reissue. The Mark 47, the Hulkbuster, the Mark 43. It's still under 20. I can't break that number. If I can verify 20 actual figures, have that number and divide it by the MMS 600, it'll come closer to 3%. But right now, it is still between 2 and 3% that's actually been reissued, not counting the 2.0s. But it seems recently, and probably in the last year, with the War Machine, the Mark V, and that whole wave of DC, like that came on, like, what's this? But it kind of made sense because those characters, like the Tumbler, hadn't been seen in close to 10 years. So I'm like, it kind of makes sense. It is a different generation. You have new collectors right now that are joining it. So it makes kind of sense on that. Yeah. That didn't really bother me on that one.
You know, for me, the reissues, I don't know. Like, I don't get bothered as much with the reissues. What's bothering me is the price hike, you know.
Yes.
And I feel like that people are kind of like overlooking. And, you know, like, I know you did a great stream, by the way, Denobi, with Optical. And you guys were just, you know, two OG YouTubers just spitting out facts. And, you know, for me, like, you know, what I got out of it is that, like, you know, you guys talk about, like, some of the, you know, the pricing and, you know, like, for example, Queel. Like, Queel is a great release, but people are forgetting that that's a $245 figure. And that's almost the same price as the Commander Cody that was released last year, you know, for $243. And with that Cody, you get a helmet and a portrait, and a really good looking like armor. Uh, you know,
Paradox. Easy. I watched his video the other day, and he said that he felt that the 245 was merited because of the innovation that went into the figure. They got the articulated head, they got articulated jaw, which I think they should not do, but they're gonna do it anyway.
Mm.
But a lot of things they put onto the figure, like the accessories and all that jazz, he felt that it was, and also it's a new mode as well. It's not like another Cody, another Stormtrooper. You know what I mean? They
well,
gotta really went down and redo this entire figure from the ground up.
like how, like the figure itself.
Yeah, create a whole new mode for it, because this is like, it's not like a regular 1/6. You know what I mean?
Was Attack of the Yoda, Attack of the Clones Yoda, or
Well, he said that the Yoda,
the Ewok.
yeah, he said the Yoda was all cloth and stuff, but then there's a lot more stuff with the accessories. Like, there's more than just cloth. There's the I can't remember properly. I haven't watched it in a few days, but he said
the Quill has mostly clothing, tailoring. The only difference is that like the portrait is like, and that could be 3D printed. It's not something like, you're not capturing a likeness of an actor, right? You're not trying to capture with Commander Cody. You're trying to get the likeness of Tamura Morrison in that movie.
you think that the 245 was too much on the Quill?
I think so. I mean, that's just me.
I think it's a lot too. I think it's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I really, really do think it's a lot. I do think with the Quill, it is a new body.
You think it's a new body?
I think it's a new body. There's nothing that I can think of and go down that, I mean, you could, because you can't use the Ewok. The Ewok body is
smaller,
small, unique. I mean, it's like a little teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
The rocket is sculpted. The whole body's sculpted with the joints, so you can't use the rocket. Mm-hmm. I can't think of any other little people body that can be substituted for the Quill. So I would assume that everything there, like the body, would be custom, the tail and the head. But I'm not making an excuse, though. I still think that price point is a lot.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you make a great point with the rocket, but the rocket is, if you say it's sculpted, it should be more money. It's $212 for the rocket. I think the rocket before that, the Guardians of the Galaxy one, that one was like, I forgot how much that was. Again, inflation. Let's blame inflation and all that.
And then wasn't it a 2-pack too? Didn't you get the Groot with the the last So
yeah, that deluxe set was amazing.
I think the Guardian Galaxy 2 was the best deluxe set for Rocket, because it came with the accessories for the price point, and also an extra head sculpt. And I feel like Endgame Rocket, throw away the freaking gauntlet. Everybody was getting a freaking gauntlet. Just give him the other head sculpt. I'm like, I don't know why they gave us a freaking mini gauntlet. I don't know.
Good point. I would have preferred Rocket to have another head sculpt, that action yell. No, I would have preferred 2 head sculpts with that versus any additional accessories. So yeah, I can't recall anybody else pointing that out. So I'm like, Rocket really I think if Rocket came with 2 head sculpts, he would have been, I think he'd be gone, sold out. But I think he's, like, even on Hong Kong retailers, he's discounted, which is sad. And
he's back up on Sideshow as well.
Yeah. Yeah. The Mando license could be higher. You know what? This is a good point. I can totally speculate on this too. Why the Mandalorian, certain characters and so forth. Absolutely. We don't know. This is a privately held company. We don't know its trade secrets. We can speculate, right? But yeah, the Mandalorian, license to make the toys and all that. Yeah, it could be higher. That was my first conclusion when I saw that silly blurg and Mando coming close to $700. I'm like, oh, it's Disney and the licensing and so forth. They're really milking it on that one.
Or how about like the the Falcon Captain America. That's like 300 and was it 360?
That the
300
375, and then when you add shipping,
375, yeah.
yeah, you're looking at four. My math was like when I did it was like 422 or something like that.
Oh
That's a lot.
my god.
That's a lot.
Oh my god.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Oh,
Are you
there's
getting
another
that,
thing.
Nate? Are you
Yeah.
getting that, Nate? That Falcon
one?
Captain America
Oh,
from the TV show.
Oh, Captain Puerto Rico 2.0, Wepa.
Captain
Yeah,
Puerto
I'm getting him. I'm getting my Puerto Rico man, Captain Puerto Rico man, with the wings, baby. I can't, man. I'm gonna get him with my Bacardi wings too, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on, baby.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
Optical did the math with that one, and one might argue like, okay, the portrait's better from the Civil War version to the Falcon version, or but that's like 100. He said it was like 160% price hike.
Yeah.
From the that's a lot, man.
That's a lot. That's
Mhm.
a lot. That
I'm just curious to see like like a year from now, like how much Hot Toys figures are going to be.
Captain Bacardi win.
Yeah. Like the Ahsoka figure, that one, that was an excuse just to make it a DX and price it to like
those figures, Ahsoka, cartoon version and human version, those things are going to be like the Beskar Mandalorian. I promise you. When she gets released, I'll be hanging out with Pete, telling him I told you so, Pete. I'll be in the 1/6 canteen. I think I told you. You don't listen to me, did you? You had all these kids out there falling in love with Ahsoka.
There's one thing I wanted to say though. I think I know I'm bringing it back to the reissues again, but
that's what the stream is for, is reissues.
Yeah, this is one subject I wanted to talk about. Because have you even noticed we've seen a lot more reissues coming from the DC figures than other lines, and we're probably going to see a lot more of that in the other lines. But we're seeing it more from DC, and I think another part of that is that Hot Toys didn't make money off the Justice League lines, and that's their way of recouping with the DC lines that they still have with the Dark Knight Rises, and bringing those in. And also the reissues are technically, well, the Dark Knight and then the Batman Begins, they have like an updated head sculpt, just that the bodies are literally just the reissue. The head sculpts are like 2.0s. And then you get extra accessories with them. So it's technically not a reissue. It's more of a reissue with 2.0 accessories and then the head sculpt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I broke up with the Dark Knight. I do have him back over here, but I can't get emotionally involved in that relationship with. I can't. I'm sorry. Right now, I'm trying to settle the papers for the remaining endgame characters that are still asking for alimony, and I'm trying to get the Mandalorian to move in right now. So it's tricky, right? It's tricky.
I just want to know, like, again, like, with this with Hot Toys collecting a year from now, like, when the Book of Boba drops and we get more figures from that show, Obi-Wan Kenobi show, we got all these like low key, and man, like I just want to know the price point and how many figures, like how is Hot Toys collecting gonna be a year from now for all these collectors that want to collect everything. It's just you got to have a focus at that point, because can you keep up with the Joneses? Like, can you keep up with all these figures and all these shows that's about to annihilate my pocket?
Yeah. It's strategizing, it's planning, and to the question on Albert, I go, look, Albert, I'm not doing this 2-year thing anymore with Hot Toys until they get their act straight. There are a lot of characters that I want. I'm not going to boycott them, but I've resorted to the Hong Kong pre-order method, meaning when they get announced or released in Hong Kong, then that's when I move into the strike. All right, it's dropped in Hong Kong. All right, crack my knuckles. Which online retailer is going to serve my need? Because as collectors, you need to curate your collection. And I've been doing this long enough where I don't want to get priced out, because I love this. I love playing with toys. We all like playing with toys.
Yep.
But you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart. And there's a lot of Mandalorian characters. I'll confess. I want like I've said it. The Blurg and the Quill 2-pack. I'll be buying them, but I'm
Yeah,
not
me
gonna let
too.
my $60. I'm not gonna let my $60 sit in some account for 2 years. No, I'll
Mm-hmm.
let's
I might
cross
have
that
to get
bridge
one of
when I get
these.
there.
I might have
Yeah,
to get another one of these to get the
yeah,
blurgs.
hmm
Yeah,
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 and they're going hard. Like
yeah,
we forget that they will drop in armor. Like armor is probably going to be easy for them to make because
yeah.
there's no portrait. It's just a helmet. How
Just a
easy
helmet.
would
Yeah,
like helmet and like some fabric and you call it a
yeah,
day. Maybe like the hammers.
Well, I
yeah.
don't think it will be as easy. I don't think it will be as easy as a Boba Fett, though. That's the thing, or a Mandalorian, because
Mm,
Boba Fett and Mandalorian, uh, by Mandalorian in general, you have the Boba Fett look, not
yeah.
the actual Mandalorian character,
Yeah,
but general Mandalorian characters. They carry the Boba Fett look, and that's why they were able to put out the Death Watch so easily. You know,
yeah, but you think it's just like there's no sculpting involved. It's just probably like 3D printed. They're not sculpting it by hand like a helmet. They're just probably gonna like look up the
3D
references.
3D printing to then spend 50 grand to 100,000 for the steel molds. And
Mhm.
I'll give points to Hot Toys. They went all out on that heavy Mandalorian. Like there's a lot of brand new R&D that went into this
Hmm.
particular figure. I didn't see any shortcuts on it. I'm like, wow, right down to the Gatling gun and the core
Yeah.
and they even fixed the backpack situation. Remember the Boba Fett with that stupid
hmm
paperclip nonsense? Like, oh my god, they even put in R&D into attaching the backpack.
Hmm.
Dudes, they put love into the heavy Mandalorian. Will they do it to the Death Watch, to that generic one? I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
not. I don't have it in
I'm
my hand.
I'm just hoping the backpack they fixed the backpack. I'm just hoping they did that because that's
Yeah.
literally a Boba Fett clone. They could literally just take what they did with the Boba Fett. Well,
Mhm.
actually,
Hmm.
they can actually whatever they're doing with the jetpack for Jango Fett, they'll
Hmm.
probably be able to transfer that over to that Mando Death Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, we all love we all we've all come to agree that we all love the Mandalorian.
Hmm.
Now, how are we going to play the game? Because there's a lot of characters there that we all want. I know, Nate, you want some of those characters. PJ, I know you want some of those characters. So
Yeah.
strategize, break out those spreadsheets, figure it out.
Well, see, here's the thing:
I'm
is
getting them
like
all, baby.
the so for me, like I abandoned Marvel. I sold all my Marvel figures so that I can keep collecting Star Wars figures because Star Wars is my love. I love
Mhm.
Star Wars. And I'm gonna do my best to try and get almost every figure that comes out of the Star Wars line for Hot Toys. I just don't know how long I could do that. Because at some point I might have to go and pick and choose. Like, go, you know what? I gotta stick with the prequels, or I gotta stick with the original trilogy, or I
Yeah.
gotta stick with because I can't collect them all. They're
No, you're right.
releasing, they're good. They're releasing a ton of them. Can I
Yep.
get every stormtrooper ever made? I don't know. I
You know,
can't.
I feel at this point with what's going on with the Hot Toys, we're getting so many IPs right now, so many different characters come into play, especially with the Mandalorian figures, like I said, uh, Paradox. But I feel that we now have to develop a 10-year plan, okay, so,
Yep.
to get these damn figures, because
Yeah.
I feel that because I'll be focusing on my Mandalorian stuff and my Star Wars
Yeah.
stuff. I'll be getting my Marvels too, but
Mhm.
I found a way to where I can know where to play them and know when to fold them. And if I can't get that, like for example, like the Wasp, if I can't get the Wasp now, which she's sold out, I can find places where she's selling pretty low. So I'll pick her up later down the line.
Mhm.
Like I feel that collectors need to figure out who to sacrifice and who to pick up.
Yep.
And patience, like you make a perfect point, Denobi, like with waiting and figuring out, like once it drops in Hong Kong, which online retailer are you going to go with, which offers you no tax, great free shipping maybe, and you try to, because I think Optical Meta did the math in terms of shipping and taxes included, and if you were to buy from Hong Kong, if you want, if you're not reviewing these figures,
Yeah.
right, it's a
Yep.
waste of money.
It is. It
You
is.
know,
Yeah.
you're gonna buy it. Why? So you could have them sit on your shelf for 3-4 months before everyone else.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You just
You'll,
spent.
you'll end up tapping yourself out. Yeah. You'll end up tapping.
I think you
your-
mentioned that too, Denobi. You
Yeah.
did mention that. With optical.
You'll tap
And,
yourself out, and then you're done. That's it. Game over for you. We've already started. We haven't even hit the storm yet. I have my charts and projections and my satellite, and I'm trying to pinpoint where the storm is going to hit. And we have people already tapping out. We haven't even done anything yet. It's coming.
Oh my gosh. People forget that there was a pandemic that delayed all these IPs from releasing their shows or their movies. Doctor Strange, WandaVision, Book of Boba. I'll tell it on the stream. We're gonna get most of the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back. Can you collect all of them? Because Hot Toys is gonna make all of them.
Yep.
Well, Book of Boba Fett, there's a chance.
Book of Boba Fett, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to think about No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah, Meister 2.0, baby.
Yeah.
I think I'm so drunk.
Mysterio. Mysterio, yeah. Characters like that, we don't even have those yet. So,
Yeah, Mysterio. Spider-Man. All 3 Spider-Man. They're coming. Sinister Six.
Sinister Six.
Oh my
What
gosh!
What if this movie breaks $2 billion and the Sinister Six with Michael Keaton in the new Vulture costume, which is probably gonna, we're like, oh my, what if Hot Toys decides like, wow, we got to cash in on this? They could make them. So I think about all that. I do. I'm like, all right, we got Spider-Man coming in. I can't have X amount of money sitting on these pre-orders. I gotta strategize because we have Spider-Man coming in. I am very well aware of the Book of Boba. I mean, if it's going to be the exact same writing team, if it's Dave Filoni overseeing that, it's probably going to be a runaway hit. Are you kidding? Jabba's palace? I mean, with all those Denzians and aliens and creatures and droids and all that. Oh my God, that's a cash cow of characters.
Kenobi, I just got reminded about this. Like, I think history is repeating itself once again. Because I was watching one of your videos way back when you were talking about the Civil War line, and you were complaining with I forgot your buddy's name. What is his name again? Benjamin. Yeah, I love that guy. I thought he was hilarious in your two interviews. But in the video in Civil War, right? You guys mentioned that. Are we collecting for Captain Americas? Like, if you wait enough, you'll get another Captain America. And I feel that that's what's happening once again with Star Wars or Marvel. Yeah. I know the Endgame line. We probably won't see a few of these characters come back, but you'll get another Thor. You'll get another Rocket. You'll get another Groot. You just gotta be patient and pick which one was your favorite.
Yeah.
Well, Nate, I was gonna.
Yeah. No, go ahead, PJ.
Oh, I was gonna say is that the difference between the Civil War line and Star Wars is that there was no Star Wars back then. We didn't have we didn't. You think about it. We didn't have a Mandalorian. We didn't have a Book of Boba. We didn't have Disney Plus. Now people forget Armored Wars. We're gonna get a bunch of war machines coming out of Armored Wars.
I feel you. I feel on that, and I feel
that's
that like it was going to happen though. Like Hot Toys sold gold mine when they started doing it with the Star Wars. Now they just transferring what they're doing with Marvel and moving it over to Star Wars.
No. See, here's the thing. Marvel hasn't ramped up yet. So in once the Eternals and all these other movies start coming out, they're gonna go neck and neck with Star Wars and just pumping out figures. The only IP that's missing is DC. You know? So now, before, you only had Marvel that was dominating the game. You know, with all these movies and characters and different Captain Americas, but now you got Star Wars right with Marvel. And that is, I think people are forgetting, oh my gosh, can I keep up with both?
And
that's why I sold all my Marvel figures, because I can't keep up.
Give me a second. Someone turned on the vacuum cleaner.
Honestly, be shocking we get one from the Eternals. You mentioned the Eternals. I'm not convinced yet on the Eternals, but
Mhm.
I give every property a chance. If the movie's as good as what Kevin Feige is promoting, then I'll a Angelina Jolie, Hot Toys.
Oh my gosh.
She is like Johnny Depp. All you have to, if you're only going to make one out of that film, it would probably be her because Maleficent sold out when they made her.
Mhm.
Uh, did they make another? I think that was the only Hot Toys for Angelina Jolie.
Mhm.
I thought she was in another film, but no, I guess that was it. So I thought there was two Angelina Jolies, but I guess that's the only one we've ever gotten a Hot Toys from her was
Yeah.
Maleficent. Um, but and then maybe it's Johnny Depp. He's the one that every time he's in a film, the
Mhm.
folks in Asia they freaking love him.
Yeah, well, Shang.
We can hate Johnny Depp, but they love him out there.
Maybe Shang Chi. Oh man, but Spider Man's gonna be. You know how much Hot Toys love Spider Man.
Yeah,
They're gonna release everything from
Yeah.
that movie.
yeah.
I mean, we're getting
waiting. Yeah.
all those costumes. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm if it's as true that we got the veterans on board like Toby Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Yeah, so I'm not I'm not ready to divorce Marvel yet. I
Mhm.
understand that if you do want all of Star Wars, I've seen the roster and everybody, I that's what I've been preaching. You have to pick your battles.
Mhm.
Then you do what must be done. You know,
I pick my
So number
battle.
pick your
I'll
Will you
battle.
pick.
be doing the same thing with Star Wars if they start ramping up with the Book of Boba Fett, with the Mandalorian season
Mm-hmm.
3? Just pick your battles with these characters.
Mm. Get rid of those pops, Nate. Nate, get rid of those final pops.
I know. I got $20,000 of pops, baby.
Oh my
rid of,
gosh, Nate,
yeah,
get rid of them, man.
get rid of them.
I
Yeah,
can't. They
Get
keep
rid of those
going
pops.
up
You
in
need the space.
value. I can't.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, hey, at least you have the pops to rely on, so that like you could use
yeah.
your pop collection to fund your future Hot Toys purchases.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but that's a good backup because man, Book of Boba, man, and like I said, like I do have someone I know that kind of works with the Book of Bobas, and they kind of told me that like all the bounty hunters are most of them are back, and Cad Bane might make an appearance.
Yes, get rid of the pop. I know. Get rid of the pops. I
I
know.
told you, dude.
I'm working on. I'm working.
I'm not playing. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm like, you got to get rid of that vinyl nonsense. That's landfill right there. Get rid of that nonsense. I'm not like, listen, like Hot Toys will woo you. We all gripe about it, and I appreciate PJ, Nate, Aries, Dante, all you cats out there. I mean, we all complain and gripe, but let's make no mistake, though, man. When they pull out that character that we all connect, boy, do we turn around and pull our pants down, huh? We
Oh yeah.
I've never seen a group of hot toy collectors bend over when they announced that Ahsoka Tano. I was listening to all of you. I'm like, wow, look at these guys go gaga for Ahsoka Tano.
Hey, we were fans of the show for years, man. The Clone Wars show, and that's the reason why we were just fans of it. And then it was just a perfect storm when they introduced the whole Clone Wars season 8, and then we got the freaking Ahsoka, and then Maul. And this is going great. The 501st Troopers.
There was a stream with that I listened from PJ. He was ready to take out a loan and buy a ring for Ahsoka Tano. He was so in love with he was. I was like,
Oh, I love the statue. I love the Clone Wars figure, but I'm still kind of skeptical about the movie version.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on that portrait, and I'm kind of disappointed because for $300+ for that figure, for that DX, quote unquote DX, right?
Oh, it is a DX. Her eyes, they do move. So.
I mean, but we got that with Alita, and
Yeah.
but it's just, I don't know, it's just their way of trying to I don't know, make more money, but I just feel like, with the amount of accessories that you get with that figure, $300 is a lot, man.
I got a question for you, PJ. Nate, you may
Yeah.
know this, but I'm going to test PJ here. Do you know what DX stands for? When Hot
Uh,
Toys.
no, that one DX.
Okay, pause right there.
Um, uh,
Nate,
uh,
I'm gonna give it to Nate. Let's see if Nate knows. Do you know what DX? When Hot Toys puts the letter D and X, do you know what that means?
I might be wrong about this one. I always thought it was deluxe.
No. DX stands for detail extra. That's all it is.
Detail
Detail.
extra. Look at
mm,
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
detail extra. All right. That's what that means, meaning that they're providing additional details to the product. So, Darth Maul, he came with two heads, rolling eyeballs. That's DX. That's detail extra. They're adding extra details to that particular figure. That's what the DX means.
which
So now you know.
I actually like that. I really like that mall, that
Yeah,
DX mall. I have the solo DX mall, which I like. That portrait was good, but
they didn't make a solo DX.
Yeah, they did.
no, like a solo version, like
No.
solo meaning Han
Oh,
Solo, the movie.
oh, yeah, yeah. The mall, the
The,
mall, the mall.
Ah, okay, okay.
yeah, not the
Isn't
like
it?
yeah.
Are you calling it a DX or is it an official
Yeah,
labeled stamped DX?
Oh, it's a
DX16.
official. Yeah, DX19, right? Is it
I
DX?
think it's DX18 because the DX16 was the regular mall,
Okay.
DX17 was the mall with speeder, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
DX18
yeah.
was the solo mall.
Yeah, DX18 and DX19 is the Dark Knight, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what that. If everybody ever wonders, that's what the DX means. It's detail extra. It's their premium line that they started. Still part of the MMS series, but they started it, and that's where they had like the Michael Jackson, the Indiana Jones, and so forth. It was a more premium line where the figures would come in foam, and it was more of a prestige, like the collector
Yeah.
that wants that extra more. And we've always, us old fogies, we always wanted more of the DX, and they started to trickle back in. The Darth Maul with the speeder bike, so it's a good example. And then we got the
Yeah.
Ahsoka and so forth. But make no mistake, though, both versions of Ahsoka, they will be peg warmers. They'll eventually climb up in price, but they will collect dust on the sideshow. There's just going to be too many of them. Every time 16 Cantina pulls up a chart, she's always up there. I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna collect dust. She's gonna be like the Beskar armor 2-pack and the Mark L. It'll be a year before she even sells out because everybody just jumped in on it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've always preached about this in my channel about it. Is that the figures that you really want to either put your money in or focus on are the ones that are not doing well in the pre-orders because they will not sit around for long because people will be picking them up, especially with the reviews come out. If you got figures that are selling up there like the Rexes and the Codys and whatever, like Cody, he was up there for a minute. So and Rex is following the same pattern. So Rex he's not going to sit. He's going to stay a month or two before selling out. That's what I think anyway, because Cody did the same thing.
Yeah, again, that's great, the numbers and, what's going to sell out, what's not going to sell out. But at the end of the day, like, for collectors, just pick up something that you're emotionally connected to.
That's
not
it.
be like, like you said, Nobi, and not something that might sell out,
That's it.
But here's another thing too. Is a great way to keeping up with those pre-orders and the bestsellers and stuff like that. If you keep up with those, you have an idea of who you can get later versus now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, Denobi. I know you've been collecting for a long time, and Sideshow's antics. Do you think that they mess around with the bestsellers in the Sideshow's website? Because I feel like they do that with the waitlist. Like, there'll be something that goes waitlist, and then all of a sudden, boom, back on like stock or pre-order.
No. In retail, there's nothing worse than having dead stock, and you can go on their website right now, and I could only imagine. Oh my god, I could just imagine what that warehouse is like, piled. I mean, they're probably using other shelves for other existing merchandise. Something we because I years ago I worked in merchandise, and when you have back stock in the area, everything gets labeled and so forth. And when you have so much of a certain product, you can't fit it on a certain shelf, so you have to use other shelves. And I could just imagine the cluster F that's in there with the amount of stock that they have must be like atrocious, especially since everything's been delayed so much, and a lot of collectors, did suffer hardship, right? Last year,
Mm-hmm.
20, I haven't forgotten
Yeah.
about 2020, and Sideshow was making those exceptions that you were allowed to cancel your pre-order because it's been delayed and get your non-refundable deposit. I know 3 people on Instagram that took advantage of that and, borrowed from Paul to pay Peter. Oh, I canceled. Sideshow let me cancel this so I can get this particular figure. So, well, great. You canceled 3 of your pre-orders, now becomes dead stock on that shelf so that you can get the hottest thing because a YouTuber told you to get so. So it's so unbalanced. That's why the Mandalorian 2-pack Beskar and the Mark 50 and the Mark 7, they're probably going to stay in stock till Christmas. If anything, it's probably around Christmas when you might see them disappear or maybe even go on a wait list because it's Christmas, right? Most Americans love to burn money. So if we're going to see a change on those peg warmers, it's probably going to be around Christmas. It's my guess. It's my guess based on retail because I don't think Sideshow can afford to screw with those numbers and bestsellers and all that. Like man, they are doing their best. And
isn't that scary though? Like what I've been noticing, since I started collecting, like a lot of these figures that usually would sell out, within a year are now just sitting around. Like, is Hot Toys just making too many at this point to meet demand, or they're just not many people are buying anymore?
I think it's a combination of a lot. It's a very long list, and majority of you guys on your streams can have made really good points on that. And the pandemic is obviously the biggest culprit in the actual lineup, but it's very tough. I mean, we've most of us that are just really trying to balance out, because remember, we didn't get pre-orders shipped to us during 2020. At least I didn't. I mean, they were sandbagging them, right? Warehouses were closed and so forth. So something else too, let me put this up. Something else too that most of us tend to forget is that multiple toy companies went out of business last year. We know that, right? Have we been mentioning that? Like, we don't know. Sideshow's a privately held company. I don't think they're publicly traded, so I can't look at their numbers. We don't know what financial situation Sideshow is in. We don't know how much capital that they have. Remember, in retail, there is nothing worse than having dead stock. It's a noose around your neck. I mean, that can devastate. Fossil watches. I just saw a video essay on them with their dead stock. There's nothing worse than having merchandise that cannot get pushed. So we don't know what their books are. My company that I was rooting for, Master Replicas, went out of business last year. Chronicle Collectibles went out of business.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was a statue company that I can never. People keep telling me the name, went out of business. There was a statue company that they were making. We don't know what financial straits Hot Toys is in. We don't know what financial situation Sideshow is in. Are they pumping out these reissues because they know it's guaranteed wins? They don't have to invest in R&D, probably. If I had to guess. How hard is it to strike up the print and press on a Mark V? You've already invested $150,000 on the die-cast molds. They're sitting there in a vault somewhere, probably. Just put
Sticker base.
Sticker base, right? The steel cast molds that are anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000. Hell,
yeah, Don Prime has mentioned that quite a few times. Every time we bring it up.
Yeah. Just keep printing it up. So we don't know. I hope they're business.
But
Can you imagine? See, now I'm going down the conspiracy theory. Do you know what would happen? Do you know what would happen if Hot Toys went out of business? Do
oh
you
my
know?
gosh, yeah, there are going to be a lot of companies trying to get that Star Wars and Marvel license.
Do you? Yeah, not only that
Three
though.
3-0 would be like on the
Yeah, it would be a gap left in the collectors community. Not only that though, but it would balloon existing merchandise to skyrocketing needs like you've never seen before.
yeah.
I mean, master replica pieces from the early 2000s. You know, they're at. I don't know if any of you know about master replicas.
Yeah, I
You know,
remember. Yep.
that giant at that now goes on eBay for $6,000 to $7,000. They make the Millennium Falcon that's anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000. Yeah, I hope not. Somebody on Reddit had posted something like that. I'm like, I don't know. You know, it's like, oh, they keep reissuing this because they need an infusion of money. I'm like,
Yeah, they do. And you know what? Like, you have to think a lot of their releases, right? Like in terms of the Mandalorian,
yeah,
a lot of them don't have portraits.
yeah.
It's all stormtroopers with helmets, Mandalorian with helmets. You know, how many Grogu's are we going to get? You know, there's not a lot of portraits with those releases. Even with the releases last year, I remember I was like, when I was doing a lot of Hot Toys reviews, I was like, man, there's not a lot of portraits with this, or a lot of them are reused portraits.
Yeah.
Again, like I said earlier, it's like it's just funny how someone mentioned earlier IG-11 went on waitlist and it went back up after it went back up in stock. Like, how do you go from a waitlist to back in stock? And then same with the Mandalorian, the 2-pack. I remember when people went crazy when it went on waitlist and then went back on pre-order. Where are they? Like, all of a sudden, like, oh wait, oh yeah, cool. I think they're playing around with it. I know Metamorphic Custom says I don't think Sideshow is doing it on purpose.
No,
I think
I'm with you, PJ. I'm with you. I don't think it's done on purpose.
yeah.
I don't. I think it's the universe trying to rebalance itself. And I'm going to put the tin hat on my head, and I do believe that a lot of these reissues is to get that infusion of money, because I don't know if you're aware of though, but at Secret Base, when you do a pre-order, you only have two options for pre-order, right? That is, you pay 50%, right? Non-refundable, by the way. Did you know that?
Yeah,
non-refundable, and then the second option is to pay it in full, and then they give you a ticket. They give you a little piece of ticket, right?
Orange ticket. Yep.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
So reissuing your greatest hits to get that infusion of money, because here in America, here in our country, it's only 10% or whatever.
Yeah.
It's 5. Most like Ultra Egos, some companies don't even collect 10%, but in Hong Kong it's very different. But their benefit is that they don't have to mark up price. So we know that. We know by the time it gets here, it's marked up anywhere between 20 to 30%. But the difference is that they do have to come up with more. So reissuing these characters to get that infusion of money tends to make sense. Okay, maybe they're strapped, but I don't know what their books. God, I'd love to look at their books. Maybe they need that infusion. I'd love to look at those books.
Yeah, and the thing is, for me, it's like what I've been noticing, and I think I mentioned it last year, is that a lot of these hot toy sculptors, because people forget, people don't look into the sculptors that sculpt these portraits, right? They have Instagrams. So if you go on Hot Toys' website, and you look at the name of the sculptors, you can look them up on Instagram, and they'll show you their work. And I feel like Kojun, one of the greatest Hot Toy sculptors that ever worked for Hot Toys. He sculpted Anakin, he sculpted Johnny Depp, and those are great portraits. Now he's moved on to a statue company. There was one point, I felt like a lot of these 1/6 scale sculptors were moving on to statue companies to sculpt for them, and I feel like you're kind of left with the bench warmers, with Hot Toys, because there's some of the portraits were kind of some were good, and a lot of them were they're okay.
Yeah. Did you know that, Nate? Yeah,
Paradox Nerd brought it up in a stream with us
yeah.
a while back. Like I started noticing that, and I was like, I was thinking, what are we experiencing a shortage of head sculptors for Hot Toys at this point? Yeah, we've
That
experienced shortages for everything else. What about head sculptors? They're moving on to other better
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
yeah.
For
Yeah,
those of you, let me pause you real quick. For those of you that are listening, what we're talking about is that Hot Toys, when they announce a figure, they actually hire independent contractors to sculpt a head, and they usually will stick with one painter. JC, he creates the diagram, and then that diagram gets sent to the team to match the paint code on there. Hot toy head sculpts are hand painted. I don't know if a lot of you who are listening know that, but they are. They are hand painted. But the sculpts can vary, and that's why people are like, well, how come this head sculpt looks better? And well, it's because if you look at the descriptions, they outsource it to independent sculptors to try to capture that likeness. But anyway, I wanted to share that with anybody who's like, what are they talking about? And like, yeah, that's why when I did the Mark V, the 600. I'm like, who's this sculptor? And it wasn't listed. So I
Yeah, who
assumed
is it?
Mark 85.
No, no,
the Mark V, the Mark
the
V with
Mark
the
Oh,
Five.
Mark
C.
5. Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed that Hot Toys has this sculptor locked under a dungeon and key with an ankle, and they want to get because I'm like, wow, they're keeping him, and it could be a contractual, your information won't be shared because you'll get poached. Probably, it's getting bad out there.
Which one? The Mark 5, the one that where
The
he's
suit up.
the suit up.
one.
Oh
The
yeah,
suit up Mark 5.
I know who it is. Oh, hold on. I could pull up the info
Yeah,
for you.
it's not listed in the descriptions. The this one here, yeah, yeah.
It's usually under.
Find them. Yeah,
It's usually in their main page, their Hot Toys page. But
yeah.
I could find out who the sculptor is. I think I mentioned him in one of the streams, and I think he does decent work. Hold on, let me see. Let me pull it up right here.
Yeah.
Decent
'cause
work. That thing is perfection right there.
Yeah,
on the
I've
head
never
sculpt
seen
right
a
there.
tongue head sculpt like this, so I assumed that. They
Oh
were
yeah, it is not available. Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot.
Yeah, it's very secretive. They're keeping this one hush hush. They got him in a dungeon locked up somewhere.
They got him in the dungeon to know.
Yeah, they don't want to lose him. They don't want to poach him because if this thing blows up with this RG, they're not. Yeah, they. No.
Yeah, they just probably don't want like other companies to pick them up.
Nope, I don't blame them. I do not blame them. Anyway, we are approaching. This was supposed to be an hour and a half.
Sorry.
I know. It's always when it's good. It always goes over. But I have to go.
I've been trying to watch the time. I was like, how long is this going? Because
It's going. I have to cut it. Otherwise, we'll be here for another 2 hours, and then we're here Wednesday. But I am done, folks. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna in the video description. I'm gonna make sure I put Geekin Out. You can follow Nate and Geekin Out. You can follow PJ Paradox Nerd. I'll put that. Nate, you go first. Say your goodbyes, and then we'll kick it over to PJ.
Well, everybody, this is pretty much going to be our goodbyes, of course. Hopefully, this extend to 18 freaking minutes like our streams on Wednesdays. But on Wednesday, we're going to be having our 6 p.m. Eastern, going 8 p.m. Eastern for our pretty much our weekly streams for Wednesdays. We're going to have Dom Prime. We're probably going to have Desi as well. We're going to have a cool topic. We're going to talk about some cool diorama pieces and, how to, talk about display purposes. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then we do also a stream for Sundays as well.
Cool.
Nice. PJ, you're up.
All right, cool. Yeah, PJ the Paradox Nerd. My channel's Paradox Nerd. I have a couple reviews coming up. I have the Rey and Kylo from Rise of Skywalker. That should be dropping. Hopefully Rey drops tomorrow and Kylo a little bit maybe on Friday. And Sunday night, Funday night live stream at 8 p.m., 8:35 p.m. Eastern time on my channel to pretty much talk about pop culture and the things that we love to collect from the pop culture realm. So
yes,
thank you, Donobi, for having me on, man.
You're welcome. And like I said, folks, I'll put their channel descriptions in the video. And I forgot, which I want to say it's confirmed, but me and Aries from 16 Cantina, we're going to do a live stream tomorrow. I want to say it's 6 p.m. Pacific, but it's not going to be about Hot Toys. We're actually going to talk about the old days of toy hunting and action figure collecting. Because
Wow, nice.
yeah, we're gonna talk about the Black Series because I really enjoyed how he made the transition. Because I'm aware that a lot of Star Wars collectors that are buying Hot Toys have ditched the Hasbro Black Series, and I went through my own transition. But that's something we'll talk about. It'll be the old days of toy hunting. So that'll be tomorrow. So anyway, thank you. I got to log off. I got stuff to do. Hello, goodbye, folks.